Unless anyone needs use of the frequency, we will begin the 2 a.m. net in about 10 minutes. KC9UDX net control here. Good evening. This is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I welcome you to the 2 a.m. net. The purpose of this net is to promote the use of amplitude modulation and also to establish this part of this band as a place for AM activity in this area. Everyone is invited to listen. Licensed amateurs who can do so legally are encouraged to check in. We listen in the AM mode and transmit in the AM mode where possible. If you cannot transmit in AM, we encourage you to listen in AM and transmit in FM. If you are transmitting in FM, please adjust your transmit frequency a couple kCs above or below from our receive frequency. This facilitates the use of slope detection, that is, demodulating your FM signal with our AM receivers. When checking in, please announce your call sign and standard phonetics. Again, this is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I will now begin accepting check-ins. Any station wishing to check in, please come now.
KC9UDX. This is N9 Charlie X-Ray Kilo.
Alright, got one so far. Recognizing and welcoming Carol N9CXK. Do we have anybody else? Come now, please.
November 9, Foxtrot Sierra Echo, and along with NI9E as co-pilot tonight. And 9FSE.
Alright, we got two more. Recognizing Steve N9FSE and Jeff. I am about to say N9IE, but I believe it's NI9E. Do we have anybody else? Come now, please.
Whiskey Bravo 9. Bravo Whiskey Papa.
Recognizing and welcoming Dave, WB9BWP. Is there anybody else? Alright, hearing none. It's been a while. We lost 2 months to severe weather. That's never happened before. And they were forecasting thunderstorms tonight. Fortunately, we don't seem to have any, at least not locally, but I believe we can hear them in the background somewhere. And you would think with 3 months gone by I would have something to talk about, but I don't have anything new. Nothing really changes with me except work. And unfortunately, I'm still working a screwball shift, so I am perpetually sleep deprived. But we'll see what you guys have. We'll go to the top of the list, N9CXK Carol from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the 2 a.m. net. N9CXK. Boy, you'd think I'd have something to talk about, but I guess not a whole lot going on. But yeah, I was going to ask about last month's net. I did not connect to any radios last month because of the lightning. Pretty fierce out here. So what's going on? A lot of solar activity. Solar flares are coming. Looking at, they thought maybe something today, but then probably by Friday we'll be seeing some solar disruptions. Kind of interesting. We had And let's see. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's all going on, but this last weekend, my family we were in Oregon, Wisconsin for the Special Olympics. They had a cornhole tournament out there. My daughter's the teams did very well. So that was a lot of fun. Did a few things on the way there and back. And then Mother's Day, we had a wonderful big brunch down at Lake Lawn Lodge on Delavan Lake. A lot of people there having a blast, and I've rarely seen that much food in one place. So that was kind of fun. It was a fun day for everybody, and then we went and did some shopping for plants and things for my wife. Oh, for my wife and me. She really loves that. She's trying to get all her pots and baskets and things started this year, but I keep shoving everything in the garage because they say it might frost. Everything's in and out of the garage a couple times already. And let's see here, on the lake, my dock is in the water. The boat's going to be delayed a little bit. They got to fix a hole. There's a hole in one of the pontoons on my boat, so we're going to get that located and welded up. So it'll take me another week or so to get it in the water. That's all right. I got plenty to do in the meantime. As far as radios and things, the radios are all working. The antennas are all working, even though I really put these antennas up, and they've been surviving through all these storms. But in the last few storms here, I had one antenna that got tilted over a little, and then I see a little tiny bit of a tilt on my big one I'm talking on now. I mean, we got 50, 60 mile an hour winds we've been hit with here, so it's pretty good that most of it is still up in the air. And we'll have to wait for Dave to come on to give us the lowdown on contest things. I don't know that. Looking forward to the Lions Ham Fest on June 13th in Lyons, Wisconsin, between Lake Geneva and Burlington. That'll be a lot of fun. A lot of us are waiting for the next Ham Fest, so there'll be a bunch of people there and a bunch of stuff. 69UDX. Back to you, N9CXA.
All right, thank you, Carol. Fine business. I haven't even thought to look at my one remaining antenna. Well, actually, there's two of them, I believe, unless one of them blew away. I haven't thought to even look at them with all the wind. I've gotten kind of lax. In years past, I always had serious wind damage anytime there's any kind of wind. But just within the last couple of years, my trees have grown to the point where the wind doesn't do any damage here anymore, which is really nice. And today, of course, is pretty windy. I did look outside and notice the support rope for my HF antenna, which is inside somewhere, is still there. It hasn't snapped, which is surprising. I'll be using that to probably pull in a new rope. But by the time I do that, it'll probably come out of the tree or something. And I guess you picked a good time to have a hole in a pontoon. That's if any year that it didn't matter, if there's any year that it doesn't matter that you're delayed in using your boat, this would be it, I guess. And I don't get too involved with the plants, but my wife has been taking plants inside and outside, of course, here almost every night. And we didn't do anything particular for Mother's Day because my wife has got some kind of hip injury, so we didn't do anything. And we had a busy weekend anyway. I worked Saturday, and then it was prom weekend. My daughter was in prom. That was a whole day of ordeal. And I haven't been to a ham fest, and I can't even remember how long. It's been, a very long number of years here now, unfortunately. I do notice that the lag on YouTube is about exactly 10 seconds. Seems to be exactly 10. I always notice when I shut down the stream that people have commented, and I don't have any access to any way to look at the comments when I'm here, unfortunately. There's just no place to set up a computer where I could do that, and I don't get the comments on my phone, which is how I look at the video to see that we're 10 seconds off. I get no comments at all on there. So if you're commenting on the video, please understand I thought I had that turned off, and YouTube keeps turning it back on. I just don't have a way to reply. And with that, next we'll go to Steve, N9FSE from KC9UDX.
Talking to the right side of the microphone probably makes a big difference, which I tell some of our people on the local repeater. Matt, you're S9 plus 30, and I got Carol at plus 20. Carol, your audio isn't has got some little oddness to it. Jeff says, I'm at FM, and I switched over to FM, and got worse, so you're definitely AM, but it's not robust and clear. So I don't know if there's anything you can do for that. And then Dave, I got to check his level out. Just put the call out on West Side a little bit ago, and I'm getting stuff ready and chatting with Jeff amongst all things here. And we're watching, like Carol said, we're watching on solar activity ourselves here and there, and getting ready for a little hamfest in the middle of Ohio there. So maybe we'll be playing with that, and 17 meters for HF back on Saturday. So, see, hopefully that works out nice. And very good on Lions Hamfest. I've been beating the drum for that one every net I can from time to time. And then not the next one, though. The next one for Wisconsin, actually, the one popped out of nowhere. The next one for Wisconsin is this Saturday at the HRO store, which is the Not Making Dayton Hamfest for from the Milwaukee Radio Amateur Club. And so they have one that starts first thing in the morning and goes till about, I don't know if it's 9 or 10. They go inside then, and then they have their club auction. So it's one of the hamfests that has a definite stop time. So check out w9rh.org for more information on that just this Saturday if you're not going to Ohio. And so that's a neat event for those that don't go to Ohio around here. Then there's another one. That one just came out of the blue on me. I have just printed out the sheet for that just a little over a week ago. And then coming up I think it's May 30th, the last Saturday in May, there's the Green Bay Hamfest, sponsored by the Green Bay Mike and Key Club. So check out their website for more info on that. But that's at the Lutheran Church on Henry Street in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So got that, and then Lions comes up. I look forward to Lions, and then the week after Lions, if I make it to that, it's up in Appleton area. They got the Sunshine Swap Fest, and then it's Field Day, and before you know it, it's South Milwaukee time. So get all that in here and get out of the way. And I was just gonna about googling some stuff up. I've been doing a deep dive for some of our new Hamfest Hamvention attendees, and I told them, I tell them you can definitely go in the forums, get off your feet for a while, and rest up between hiking through all the flea market and internal exhibits. But if there's some old stale stuff, you can save time by watching it on YouTube. So most of last weekend I zipped through at double speed or so a lot of YouTubes on forums from last year, which last year they finally got their act together pretty much and got stuff online on the YouTubes. And it's kind of neat, various things you can still learn even from the year before forums, and speed it up so you don't have to spend all day with it. Learn about clubs doing YouTube and some POTA this and QRP building from K0NEB and stuff like that. So there's some neat stuff out there, and learned about K0NEB especially on some modern soldering stations and desoldering stations and stuff that it's even available from Nebraska companies and all that kind of mayhem. So if I ever break my Weller, I know what I can do. So that's what I got. And said one of those videos was another kit building thing, and there's a radio that's about to be released called a Pebble HF, and it's a mini kit. It's not a full kit, but you do have to wind 2 toroids and pop it in the box. So it's a quick build, but it's supposed to be under $50 for all mode, but it doesn't do AM. They call it all mode, but it doesn't do AM, and so that means it does voice of sideband and digital modes and CW on this little QRP radio for under $50 with a display and the whole schmear, and the key built into it, and it plugs into the phone. If you want to not run a power bank, you can run it right off your phone power. It's just good mayhem. So pebblehf.org or something like that. So there's what I know. Back to that. Thanks for running it, Matt. N9FSE.
All right, thank you, Steve. And thanks for the updates. That's good to know. I have a feeling I won't be going to the I won't be making the Not Making Dayton Fest on Saturday. I'll probably be working, but we'll see. Actually, if I am working, I probably could go, but I won't get there in time. And if my Weller breaks, I think I buy another Weller. Probably an older one. I seem to be doing that, buying older stuff rather than new stuff. Even more than I have always done anyway. Getting tired of the new stuff. And I suppose if we're this late in the year, the next thing to talk about would probably be field day. That's got to be coming up here soon. And that's, for me, the months keep flying by, so I miss all this stuff anyway. I probably won't be doing field day again this year. And next we'll go to NI9E Jeff from KC9UDX.
Thanks, Pat. NI9E here. Hello to everyone on the net. Yeah, it's been 3 months since we were here last time on the net, and I think it was like 10 or 15 degrees, and it was dark at like 4:15, and just kind of miserable, but listening to the whine of the fans here, it was relaxating enough. And now it's gleaming sunshine coming in, sun setting. I don't see any swirly clouds, so that's a good thing. Steve was out here last month, and we were going to make...
I skipped last month because of the storm.
Well, I know, but we weren't sure if we could hit it before the storms were going to come, and just about the time when we were going to pull the cord, it really started lightning, and in my time on this planet, I have never seen so much lightning out of a storm than this last bunch that we had last month here. So hopefully no more frost or anything like that, no more snowflakes, and we're good until like November. Well, you could ski in the grass, go down a hill. But I had company here. They just left on Mother's Day. They went back to Alabama. They were up here for a funeral, a family funeral. So I had 2 house guests for 9 days, and probably for 7 of the 9 days, every time they'd wake up, there'd be frost on the grass, and I had to get the electric blanket and keep the furnaces high. I think I had on 72, 73 degrees for them. They were just freezing cold, so they were glad to get back home to the 90 or the 80 degree temperatures that they had. Dayton, yeah, I guess that's a big thing still. I think I was there twice, over 20 years ago, and now that I'm retired, I can maybe start making some of the smaller local ham fests. Not that I need anything, but just to have something to do, which would be a good thing. Still enjoying the initial stages of retirement. Not quite bored enough that I'm going to go out and look for a job yet, but that's always a possibility. And what else? Hope everybody's surviving the outrageous gas prices in their daily drives, and hopefully that'll be coming down soon. So that's it for this go-around. Back to net, NI9E.
All right, thank you, Jeff. I hope I'm wrong, but I suspect gas prices will never come back down. I've been saying for a very long time they're artificially low. When you compare prices of other things, gasoline was dirt cheap, utterly dirt cheap, cheaper than anything else comparatively. And I'm not exactly sure why that is or was, but I don't know that we can ever go back to it. Hopefully I'm wrong. Unfortunately, the ruling class doesn't really want the prices to go down, or they wouldn't be doing the ridiculous things they're doing. But I guess I don't want to get started on that. And those 80-degree temperatures and more will be coming here soon. Enjoy this unusually cool weather while you can. I don't know. I shouldn't predict because I am probably wrong. I have no qualifications or reasons to predict anything, but I suspect that we're going to go straight from having this much cooler than normal weather to much hotter than normal. That seems to be the way it goes these days. We'll be wishing it was still cool out. I don't know. We'll see. I have never been to Dayton, and there are coworkers of mine younger than me retiring, but I doubt I will ever retire. And I don't know. Maybe it would be nice to go to Dayton someday. It would have been nice to go while it was still at the old venue. There's no telling what the future will bring, so I shouldn't say I won't ever go there. And next we have Dave, WB9BWP. It's your turn from KC9UDX.
Well, good evening, everyone. Yes, it's good to be back here on the once a month net, as I always refer to it. Yes, the Hamfest Saturday, because it happens to be on the day that there would be the normal MREC meeting. The Hamfest gets cut short. And the main meeting is always an auction. And I believe I'm the one doing the auction. If so, that makes number 20 for me. I like round numbers. I told them I'd do it one more time when they asked me if I would do it. You don't have to be a member to buy or sell. No fees are charged. The Hamfest is free in the parking lot. As of today, I saw they took the rain out of the forecast, which is good because there is no longer any kind of contingency for bad weather, since there's no more classroom and no more garage space. So, and he's talking about well or soldering irons. I just happened to notice the other day that it's a very long, complicated thing. There's a company called Danaher that pretty much owns all of the test equipment manufacturers except for Roden Schwartz and Keysight, which used to be HP way back. But Fluke and Keithley and Tektronix and all that. And along with that, they started getting a bunch of tool companies, including Weller and Crescent and some of those. Actually, Weller and Crescent belonged to Cooper, but Eaton bought Cooper a few years ago. And so Eaton and Danaher had gotten together and said, hey, let's put all our tool companies under one roof, and we'd each own half the company. They called it Apex Tool Group. Well, I just noticed that they sold Apex Tool Group to Bain Capital, which is just a bunch of money guys. So I would suspect there won't be any really good quality anymore in any of those companies, Weller, Crescent, X-Lite, any of those. Because once the money guys get in there, they want to strip everything lean. Anyway, this past weekend was the Armed Forces Day crossband test. Band conditions were really noisy and lots of fading. They were really... Oh, that's the radio standing out. Conditions were really poor, but yet I actually think I worked more stations than I usually have. I pulled off 11 contacts with various military installations, including the Pentagon, which, interestingly enough, the call sign for the Pentagon is war. No other comments on that one. And Dayton, I went to, about 6 or 7 years back in the very early 2000s with a couple of guys that have since passed on, and one guy has since moved out of the area. And no, Matt, he goes, you don't want to go to that place that they worked, and that's the Hare Arena when it was still standing in this dump. Luckily, about a year after they moved out of there, a tornado went through and I think flattened most of it. But somebody was talking about weather at Dayton, and I always remember one year that we were there, it was raining pretty good. And so we were like, well, let's go inside. And it really started raining hard. Everybody went inside. And picture a few thousand wet hands. It got so bad that we just said, let's go back outside. We went out in the rain. It actually at least smelled better. That's enough for this round. So this is WB9 BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. I do remember seeing pictures of that arena after the tornado and thinking that was a pretty fitting end to that complex that would not ever be used for anything else, I don't think, ever again anyway. And it was in serious disrepair from what I could tell. Yeah, I'd still like to have seen it, just because that's that was always part of the lore of Dayton. And I will comment on the call sign war. I think it's fitting. I know a lot of people are up in arms about the Department of Defense being renamed the Department of War. And I am very much against war, but I will say that I am glad they're being honest. They're not trying to pretend that their purpose is to defend us anymore. That's one of the few good things that's been happening in the war arenas in the past few years. I probably should keep that to myself, but I do appreciate that when they can rarely be honest. They can at least do that. And I would say with Apex being sold like that, excuse me, I would say that probably a lot of those brands that we rely on and respect for quality are probably going to go away, get consolidated and whatever. Unfortunately, that's the other thing that usually happens when those when those groups buy such outfits. But hopefully not. I know the auto parts industry is exactly the same way right now. A lot of the well-known and well-respected car part manufacturers and some of the not well-respected ones are soon to be gone, which is a very bad thing. And we are at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
This is Kilo Sierra, Niner, Quebec.
All right, got one more. Recognizing and welcoming Jim KS9Q. Do we have anyone else? Come now, please. Yet another. Recognizing and welcoming Dale AB9DW. Do we have anybody else? Alright, hearing none, I'll go first to Jim, KS9Q. It's your turn from KC9UDX.
Okay, very good. Well, good evening, Matt and Net. This is KS9Q, and figured I'd jump in here. It's been a little while, and just kind of looking around the shack, looking around the basement. I'm planning to be up at HRO for the Not Making Dayton, so I got some stuff that I would like to rehome if I can, and looking forward to that. Let's see. I was doing a little bit of satellite
Good night.
monitoring and pulling some of the images from the space station for the last 2 or 3 days. And I think they wrapped that up as of today, but I got 4 good images for sure, and hopefully a couple others that I haven't pulled off of the recording disc yet. But yeah, we've been doing pretty good. Looking forward to this. We're kind of in that Wisconsin time of year when it can't decide if it's winter or if it's spring. It kind of keeps giving you a little taste of each, and sooner or later it flips a coin and it settles down, but hasn't gotten there quite yet. And Matt, I know what you're saying about private equity getting in and taking over established companies. Usually usually results in higher prices, fewer selections, and on balance, I consider it to be a net negative. So here's to the companies that haven't fallen for that. But when they start dangling big bucks in your face, I guess it's hard for them to say no. And now that I come to think of it, I'm a little surprised that private equity hasn't gone after what's left of MFJ. As I understand it, the Cushcraft and Highgain lines have been peeled off, and the plan is to have a company in Indiana hopefully start reintroducing those lines. I have absolutely no idea where they're at, what they're going to do, what they need to do in order to figure out what they got, how they're going to go about it. But here's hoping at least that they can get the parts restarted and support the antennas that are already out there, because I'm quite sure they would find people very, very happy to to patronize that service. Anyway, that's all I got for this go-around. We'll throw it back to Net. This is KS9Q.
All right, thank you, Jim. And I got to say, I'm actually delighted to hear there is anything left of MFJ. I haven't followed that since hearing that it was going under. So it's good that at least there's still talk of recovering that somehow. And when you talk about how it's hard for them to say no when the money is out there, that's unfortunately that's the law now. Public companies are not allowed to pass up anything that could profit the shareholders. That's every problem boils down to government, and government mandates that you have to do what's profitable, immediately profitable, not long-term profitable. So that's I think one of the things making this stuff happen more and more, unfortunately. And you talk about things you'd like to unload. I guess I have a bunch of things too. I suppose if I could find time during the week here, if I thought I was going, I could at least get some things ready. Top of the list, I've got a Yaesu. I don't remember the model number now. It's a handheld and it's digital. I bought it at the auction, and I would like to sell it at the auction. And I would sell the radio that I bought to go with it, a mobile digital radio that I absolutely never use because I can't stand it. It's in my daily driver, and it just sits there. I need to get it out of there anyway, so maybe I'll do that. And with that, we'll go to Dale, AB9DW. It's your turn from KC9UDX. Thank you, Dale. And it does seem to be working. I can hear you over the air, and you can hear me on YouTube, and that's our main purpose for doing that. So that's working good. I can copy most of what you say. Unfortunately, I probably could write some of it down to relay for everybody else if they can't hear you. But fine business on the EV. you will be experiencing Cantillon effects. You will be driving with cheaper fuel, getting in on the game early. And, well, it's good to hear you. And we are back at the bottom of the list. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. All right, hearing none. Carol, I'm going to say that last month I thought about running the net anyway, figuring there's probably not going to be anybody checking in, but it'd be worth a try. But then then it got really bad. And I was down here not being on the radio because we were under one tornado warning right after another. And I actually got to watch a couple of tornadoes on radar. And of course there's quite a bit of damage around here from that storm. There's an area I drive through every day in New Berlin, and it's a real shame. There's a whole bunch of buildings collapsed. But fortunately, it doesn't look like anybody's dwellings, at least not around here. And with that, we'll go. Let's call this the 7-3 round. I say this every time, and it still applies. Talk as long as you like. There is no need to hurry out the door here. But this will be the last go around. And we'll start with Carol and 9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the net and 9CXK. Very good. Well, lots to talk about here, but I don't remember any of it, so it's going to be tough. Steve, yeah, I had grabbed a hold of my RF power control. I turned it up too high, and I was overdriving the amplifier here, so should sound correct now. I should have plenty of audio, and the power should be, my signal should be normal. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not going to get into any political discussions here. I get so angry every day that I can hardly even watch the news anymore. I get so angry that people are allowed to get away with the stuff they're getting away with, bypassing all the safeguards that are built into the Constitution. I don't like it. And I'm not getting into the economics of electric car versus a nice economical gas-fired car. Because there's no big advantage. That's for sure. It's like all these nice solar farms. I'm glad I'm not out there having to set up all these solar farms, the metering at all these solar farms now, but there's so much solar out there. I don't know. I kind of wonder who goes around and cleans off the solar panels. I know they have a guy with a voltmeter that runs around and checks to see that all the panels in a bank are working, things like that. But, you got to clean those panels off or you're going to lose a lot of efficiency. And I don't know who's doing that. You can't rely on the weather. You can't rely on rain to clean off those panels. I don't know. The wind generators, that's just a black hole that you're throwing money into. But you can't tell them. You can't tell them that. The government mandates that you have so much green power that you're using. So take that. Better off putting your money into Buc-ee's or something. No, I put my money into Quick Trip, not Buc-ee's. There you go. Yeah, last month it was just lightning so much that I didn't even consider hooking up the radio. I was out in the garage watching to the west with my walkie-talkie and talking on the Elkhorn repeater, ARES group there. Didn't really think of hooking up any antennas at the house. So, yeah, I don't know a whole lot else. Just been a nice, calm time of year here. We're doing lots of things, but nothing too bad. We did go, well, that was about 3 weeks ago. We went to Detroit for a week, and my daughter had to have some more surgery, and that turned out to be just like a day surgery. So she was in and out of there, and we were all really happy. So we got to do a couple things around Detroit. Had a good time, and then drove home uneventfully. Better than the last time we were out there. We had to drive home in an ice storm half the way. So, I think that's about it. And I've been watching, well, I can't see it now, it's dark, but I was watching a thunderstorm about northeast of me, maybe like Big Bend or something, and then sliding to the south. And I've had my squelch poppet open continually here with the static crashes, so. Oh, I guess the radio timed out. That's pretty funny. I don't have the timer set up like all these other guys do. Consider that something that I need. All right, it was good to hear everybody. So glad to hear everyone. And the last transmission, I heard every single word that Dale said. So he's coming in really well over this way to the west. So that's a good indicator of what the weird local conditions are. I'm going to say 7-3 to everyone. Talk to you very soon. And CXK, good night.
All right, thank you, Carol. Say 7-3 to you. And I also do not have a timer. My radio did not, I don't think anybody anticipated using timers when this radio was manufactured. And I'll tell you what I think of solar power. You know, it's claimed to be a solution to climate change, but it is direct, intentional climate change. Solar power is. All of that solar energy that gets turned into electricity used to be heating whatever it was underneath whatever that solar panel is covering up now. And I don't know why people don't see that. I think it's pretty obvious. Windmills too, they directly affect the weather. You could theorize that other things do, but these things obviously, demonstrably do. But it's neither here nor there. I think that for a while, there's going to be advantages or disadvantages to one thing or the other due to government mandates, government meddling again. But that just gets us all more irritated at politics. I kind of like the fact that the last two federal administrations are irritating people the way they've all been irritating some of us, on one hand. On the other hand, I think most of us need to just turn off the news and live our local lives and talk to people around us instead of worrying about what's going on in Washington, D.C. and far off Middle Eastern countries and things. We'd all be so much better off. And I think if everybody stopped participating, they'd have less control over us, but that's my opinion. So I guess I would encourage you to turn off the news at least more often. And next, we'll go to Steve N9FSE. It's your turn on the 7-3 round from KC9UDX.
Thank you, Matt and company. When I heard Jim in there nice and heard Dale, I just screamed, yeah, listen to the signal on Dale. That is most impressive. I got him up to S8 here, and hopefully he can hear us direct without the YouTube even, but they'll advise on all that, so it's great to hear you out here, and so easily hear you out here as well, Dale, so good on whatever you've done to improve your signal. It's doing well for you. Hopefully it isn't just the season or something, but you can enlighten us on that. And yeah, I try to avoid a lot of the news too, because it gets just to be crazy, but I get stuck on YouTube once in a while watching what's new in the Ukraine. So, I don't know why I'm hooked on that one, but that's interesting. There's a few interesting characters, but one right out of Ukraine, he's rather interesting in his coverage of the whole thing, and he's very opinionated and all that, obviously, so can't argue that point, but so that's as much as the politics all weighed into here. The storm damage, at least I haven't gotten into my neighborhood, and nobody that I know is affected, thank goodness, but yeah, it was some pretty heavy-duty stuff in early April, and like Jeff mentioned earlier, he chased us off the air, and Carol too, and there's probably nothing to hear but some lightning crackles a month ago out here, so at least we're back on the game here nicely, and happy to report that. I wrote down from last month, let's see here, and Carol, you're sounding better, so good on tuning it in a little more there, so it took some of the rasp out of things as well there. Let's see what else is down on the list here. Let's see what Dave is up to. Oh yeah, the call sign for the Pentagon station and crossband test, which I should have followed. I know one of the YouTube guys talked about getting some more info on that going, and I probably should have looked into it. I've advertised on a few nets. Last week there was the 6-meter sprint, and I was almost ready to grab this radio and get out with the mobile, but I just at home turned on I probably should have went mobile, but I turned on the flex and tuned up and down 6 meters, and all I saw was a sea of waves, probably from the neighbor's switch mode power supplies or something, so that put a damper on me immediately, not seeing anything peeking up above the waves of noise, so I gave up early on that one, and we'll look forward to maybe the VHF, UHF, ARRL contest coming up shortly. It's almost 6-meter season, if it isn't already, so I'll have to get ready for that stuff. And Jim, I've heard a few rumblings of some stuff that somebody was looking into bought the Cushcraft line, was getting that going, and then I guess 12-volt power carried a lot of those accessories that MFJ also carried. So maybe you can enlighten, possibly have a little more on all that. And then on the other radio antenna news in the last couple weeks up on QRZ, it says that the Step IR people are going to resell to the ham community again. And one of the comments was interesting because it talked about the market for ham stuff, and it says, yeah, it's kind of shallow, but it's very broad, meaning, there's not a lot of us, but, we're like worldwide, so that's kind of a interesting take on the ham market. And just back to Dale again. Good for following us along on the YouTube and get good on the EV. I used to have a Prius, and my current Camry has got to get done with. I'll probably work my way back into another Gen 2, Gen 3 Prius or something, and I like the hybrids. It works out pretty good in my opinion, especially when you buy them used and you don't take that hit, so we're good with all that, and very good on getting to the not making Dayton. So with all that, that's my second and 73 round for you, Matt and company. Good to hear you all. I put the message out on, at least I thought I put the message out on Westside, but we didn't hear Frank or anybody respond to me this month here. So back up to that. KC9UDX and company, N9FSE. Over.
All right, thank you, Steve. I will say 7-3 to you. And fine business. I tend to really appreciate the concept of the hybrid cars. I think that's a really good way to go. You get the best of both worlds. I've been thinking about that my whole life, about the energy lost in braking, and that's something I pondered as a very young kid, how to recover that power. And that's exactly what the hybrids, well, the EVs also, but the hybrids do too. I guess I am opposed to either solution for myself, just due to the complexity. I don't even like having newer gasoline-powered cars they're just way too complicated. Things should not be that way, in my opinion, and I will not own things like that. So hopefully I can keep driving 40-year-old cars that keep getting older and older as long as I can, and avoid all of that stuff. And next we go to NI9E. Jeff, it's your turn on the 7-3 round.
Okay, one final go-around here. I forgot exactly what I was going to yap about, but the Weller soldering station, I think back when I was licensed, I bought one used from the South Milwaukee. Well, yeah, I know I'm still licensed, but when I first was, back in my novice days, I bought it from somebody at the South Milwaukee Hamfest, and to this day, I need to fix something or heat something up for a connector. The darn thing still works, and I think tips are still available.
A little bit. If you want 700 degree ones are easier to find than 800s, but 800s are out there.
Wow. So, good product, though. Very, very good product. I think it would still outlast one that you'd buy today, and I don't know if Weller even sells that, because I've been out of the electronics stuff for many years. But good stuff all the way around. Now the eyes are going, and the fingers are getting arthritic, so I don't know how Steve does what he does at the shop, but I give him a million kudos for that. And, electric car. I got my electric car here. I have a Chevy Volt with a V, a Victor, and I've had that 14 years. I'd buy another one in a heartbeat. I don't have anywhere near the range that Teslas and the other ones do, but for 28 years, no, not that long. Well, for the life of the car, it was my daily driver back and forth to the hospital, and except in winter when it was really cold, I didn't buy gas from March till November. So I suppose you could say it was a hybrid, but it always was powered by electricity, either by the battery or by the four-cylinder generator when it's fired up. I love it. I've gotten a little bit more girthy, so it's harder to get in and out of that thing, but I'd buy another one in a heartbeat. And maybe Steve and I were talking about the different Priuses, or Prii, a lot of space in those things, so that might be on the table too. Spend less on gas. Anyway, that's all I can think about for this go-around. Everyone have a good evening, and I look forward to showing up with Steve next month for the next 2 a.m. net. Back to net control. This is NI9 Echo.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Say 7-3 to you. And fine business, keeping that car going. That's good. I have a very intimate knowledge of the Toyota Prius, whatever. But I think they're probably different than the ones I worked on. I supposedly, at least at the time, was the only person in the world to be able to successfully hotwire one. And I guess knowing them as well as I do, again, I would not buy one, but I can see where other people, they're fine for most people, just not me. And next we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP. It's your turn on the 7-3 round from KC9UDX.
Okay. And good evening to Jim and Dale. I can hear everybody, no problem tonight. And Jim is coming in good. I always hear him better here than on anytime he jumps in on the 10-meter net. I like he's mobile and more in my direction. Let's see. Oh, talking about solar panels and things. At one time I heard that the majority of solar panels came out of China, who uses coal to create most of their electricity. So all the factories making solar panels are running on coal. Coal produces electricity. So I don't know if that all balances out or not. 6-meter stuff. A couple of months ago, I think I was on a net and I saw some stuff showing up on a spotting program about stuff on 6, and I flipped that radio over and look, it has a band scope, and I'm looking, I couldn't see anything. And then, I don't know, a half hour later or something, I saw one big blip. So I went over there. There was a guy in Costa Rica that I worked. A booming signal, and he said he'd been on the air for like 4 hours, and he worked a couple hundred stations already. I didn't hear any of the people that he was talking to, and I didn't hear anything else on the band. But I got him. That's all that counts. Stuff in Ukraine. I just bought a new rig expert, so that I'm helping to support them. That comes out of Ukraine. And the one that's ever placed is for sale. And may see that on Saturday. I know a guy with a Tesla truck. That he tends to go through vehicles. I don't know what his connections are or whatever. Actually, he's had this one for a while since it came out. But there's times that he would be changing cars every few months. But he has that truck, and I was walking by it with another ham, and the other guy over says, I don't know how well they work, but God, this sure is ugly. Anyway, I guess I covered all the stuff. My radio's going to time out Saturday this moment. I could go in there and turn it off, but that's too much work. Because then I'd never remember to put it back on when I really need it. Anyway, I guess that covers everything I've got here. So I'll say 73 to everybody that's out there. And nothing else. We'll see you here this very spot next month. So for WB9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. I'll say 7-3 to you. And there's a guy just to the south of me here who's got 2 of those Cyber trucks. I think they're ugly, but I greatly appreciate the design for one reason. I think that I wish more companies would make more outlandish designs like that, just to get rid of this monotony of all of the cars that look exactly the same. The ones that don't look exactly the same will look exactly the same in the next generation. They just keep making them to look the same, and it's disgusting. I really hate the standard design of what they call these station wagon crossover SUV things. I don't know. So I greatly appreciate when somebody goes way away from the norm like that. Maybe it'll inspire some of these other companies to do something different. And next we'll go to Jim, KS9Q. It's your turn on the 7-3 round from KC9UDX.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm probably going to keep my sales resistance up to an electric vehicle for the time being. My electrics can't handle it. I'd have to upgrade the electrical service here. I know when we were out in California for my sister-in-law's wedding, we used Uber a lot. The Uber drivers, a number of them were using either like a Prius or a Tesla, and apparently they work out really well, especially for the city, because they're constantly having current pumped back into the batteries while they're coasting. So that's a pretty handy arrangement for them. But you get one out on the freeway, and it's just constantly demanding power off the battery without any replenishment. Then your range definitely goes down. Matt, I know what you mean about newer cars and electronics. I got a 2022 Subaru, and it's a rolling video game. It works really well. I mean, it's got some cool stuff, and occasionally you update the software and whatnot. But I got to be careful with the radios, though, as far as where I put antennas, and I don't want to drill through anything. So the old Kia was a little bit easier from that perspective. Although the old Kia also had a computer on board that threw a signal almost right on the MRAC 2-meter repeater. So there is that. But the older vehicles tend to be a little easier when it comes to radio installations and all that good stuff. So anyway, well, I'm going to scoot as well. Matt, I'm curious what the models are of that Yaesu stuff that you've got. Maybe I'll flip you an email later on. I still have a couple of Yaesu units, but I use the Kenwood pretty much regularly now. But there's still I basically got the Yaesu for the Fusion, which I still use occasionally. Anyway, good night to everybody. Good hearing you on. Was able to copy just about everybody. And we'll say 7-3, and maybe we'll see you at the fest on Saturday. Back to net. This is KS9Q.
All right, thank you, Jim. I will say 7-3 to you. And, obviously the computer in the cars, they interfere with our radios, and it always surprises me that nobody has any troubles with the radios interfering with the computer in the car. The only story you ever hear about that is the old Cadillac V864. But it surprises me that a modern car's computer doesn't reboot once in a while due to radio transmission. Or who knows what could happen. That's kind of scary. But modern, brand new cars work good, really good when they work, and there comes a time when they don't anymore, and they're going to be really bad. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't like buying a lot of new things anyway, but I especially don't think I'd ever buy another new car. And I say another. I've never bought a new car, but I don't think I'd ever get to the point anymore where I would. I don't like them at all. But that's me, and everybody's different. I will. I'll try to make it a point to find find the handheld, and the mobile rig is in my daily driver, but the handheld I'll have to find it. It's the second or third generation of the Yaesu dual band digital radio. But I'll see if I can dig that stuff up. I have all the original packaging, all the documentation, everything, and I've honestly never even used them. I use them just enough to know that they work, and they don't work the way I like them to work. Unfortunately, the mobile rig, the microphone cable was rubbing on my shift lever, so I think that spiral cord needs to be replaced, but other than that, the radio is effectively brand new. And I know that's a tall order because, you know, just buying a replacement cable for that probably costs half the price of the radio. But anyway, I'll look forward to your email and I'll see what I find. Next we'll go to Dale. AB9DW, it's your turn on the 7-3 round from KC9UDX.
Electrical
right, thank you, Dale. I'll say 7-3 to you, and fine business. That's really good. Good information, actually. I didn't realize that I guess I never heard anybody say that, the 3 miles per hour charging at 120 volt power. That's interesting to know. That would make the first thing that pops into my head thinking about that. Obviously you're better off charging faster, but there's more factors to that because of the price of electricity at night is so much cheaper. So you want to be able to do all your charging at night if you can. And that reminds me of a comment I forgot to say earlier. I think it was Dave mentioned the Chinese coal-powered power plants producing solar panels, and I'm not sure how true that is. Only because when I was in China, in the area where they do all the manufacturing, or at least at the time that I was there, that was where it was all done. It was all nuclear power, and there's an interesting side effect of that. They don't like to throttle down the power plants, so they encourage people to use power at night. And the biggest way they do that is, first of all, by making electricity free, and second of all, by lighting everything everywhere up. As an example, in Shanghai, there on most of the power lines, there are like Christmas lights going all the way down the power lines. Anyway, we're at the bottom of the list here, and we're late enough. I don't think I'd call for anybody last minute here, so unfortunately I do have to get to bed so I can wake up at a ridiculous time to go to work. I will say this concludes the 2 a.m. net. Feel free to rag chew on this frequency after my transmission. We will meet again on the 9th of June. And especially I'd like to thank you guys all for being here. This is what makes the net. And especially Dale, it justifies using YouTube. So I'm glad I can hear you and you can hear me. And until June 9th, I will say this is KC9UDX73, and good night.
Thank you, Matt. We all appreciate you running the net. It's always a very good time, and I really makes me feel bad that you got to get up so early to go to work. But you will know when it's time to retire. You will know exactly when it's time to retire, and don't worry about the company because they sure not going to worry about you. Talk to you soon. Take care. N9CXK.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks Matt for running the net. Everybody have a safe month, and hopefully catch everybody in a month's time. And 9FSC with NI90. Testing a few things out, shutting down and getting out of here. And 9FSC.